Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the second half of my November wrap-up. Let me know if you want me to keep on doing a part 1 midway through the month and the end of the month, because I used to read like 30 books, so it would get overwhelming, so that's why I did like 15, but now I'm only reading 15 a month, so I only have 9 to talk about, and I had 8 in the last one. If you like the smaller number, I'll keep doing it. Just let me know as I plan for more content coming for the new year. But we are at the start of December. It's December 1st when I'm filming this. Like I said, I think I read 9 books and so many 5-star reads. I have been reading the most amazing books lately. I will be doing a video about books I'm obsessed with soon because I have so much to talk about, but I'm so excited to get to these. I did not read a single book physically. We will just start there. I read everything, either audio or ebook, and I will go ahead and get to it, even though I have like 1,000,001 books that I have to get to that I physically own. I also put some pink tinsel up. Do you like it? Okay, the first book I read, like a new favorite of the year, The Puck Secret by G.N. Wright. Is it G.N. Wright? I never remember her name. Yes. This book is new adult, so it's in college, which I usually don't like, but I was doing a reading vlog where I read new to me authors. I will link it down below. And I asked my patrons, I was like, I have 5 of these ebooks that I've just like collected. I don't know where I heard about them, but like, let me know what you want me to read. This one won. And I was like, yelling at my friends, telling them they should have told me to read this sooner, because this one, they text each other. She texts him something like really deep and emotional, and she thought it was to her friend, but she put in the wrong number, and it's him, and they started texting a relationship, and they start to really like each other. However, in real life, they hate each other. He specifically hates her and her brother. Her brother's a teammate of his on the hockey team because their dad is the mayor. He had an affair with his mom, who was his secretary, and then everyone found out, so he just fired her and went on to life as normal. So he really is angry at her family for firing his mom from a really good job, and now they're not really doing well. And so he, like I said, hates them, but then they do have a hookup, like an angry, angsty hookup, and are starting to spend time together, not through text. They are falling for each other through text. They don't know it's each other though, and then they kind of get jealous of each other when it's actually themselves. Oh my god, it is so good, so angsty, and like he falls so hard for her at the end, and I was obsessed. If you like a hero who is so just like adamant that he can't love, but then he falls so head over heels in love, you have to read this book. And it's hockey, which is amazing, and so much in this, and there's just so much going on, and I was obsessed. I literally could not put it down. 5 out of 5 stars. Please read this. The next book is a 4.5-star read, and that is Where We Started by Ashley Munoz. This one is only 4.5 because of the ending. Other than that, it would have been a 5-star read. This one is a motorcycle romance, and the heroine grew up around the MC. Her dad was the president, and she was exposed to a lot. If you know about motorcycle clubs, you know. And she always wanted to get away, and so she found this treehouse, and it is the hero's treehouse. And he has a very religious family. He's homeschooled, like he's not exposed to a lot, and they start a friendship and then fall in love as they grow up, and they really love each other, and she really wants him to be like her escape from the club. Something happens and they have to break up, and now it is years later, and she is back in town at her dad's funeral, and he is now the president of the motorcycle club. And things went down, and it slowly revealed what went down before she left, and she's still in danger in present day, and there's secrets in the motorcycle club, and I did not love like the reveal of some secrets because they didn't really make sense at the end, and that's why I'm giving it 4.5 stars, because I was like, I don't know, like it was just so good, and the buildup was so good, and like the suspense was good, questioning of like why are things happening the way they are, and like what's really going on at the club. I loved it, but like the reveal, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So other than that though, the romance was so angsty and so good because they are so in love with each other, and angry at each other though, because she literally just leaves, and he feels betrayed, and she feels betrayed because of what he did, and it is just so good. Like, I need more people to read this book. I absolutely loved it. 4.5/5. Like, just knowing the rest of the book, 5 stars. Like, oh my god, it was so good. Okay, so then I decided to listen to You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This one was on the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I saw it around. It was marketed as like When Harry Met Sally, and I definitely get those vibes from it. So it follows the hero and the heroine. The heroine, she is definitely a very interesting character, and the hero's a chef, and they are going through their lives through different relationships. The heroine does get married to a woman at some point and is really broken up by that relationship, but in the beginning they meet and they really hate each other, and we go through different like times in their lives where it's like 3 years pass, they meet again for one chance meeting, and then like 3 years pass, they meet again. So it's really like like when Harry met Sally. It's just going through their lives. They see each other, they really don't like each other, but then they are at really different points in their lives and really low points in their lives and become really good friends, and then they fall in love with each other. So that's what this story is about. It's definitely more focused on like their lives and their relationships and what they want out of life versus the romance. And so I wasn't super connected and invested in the romance. So definitely don't see this as like super romantic or heavy on the romance, even though it is a romance. They do end up together. But I gave it 3.5 stars. It was interesting and like I was reading along, but I was never really fully invested in their characters, and it just wasn't as good as it was like hyped to be, because the cover is just like so aesthetic for fall, and I feel like that's why everyone was reading it. But I don't think I saw anybody actually like talk about this book after they read it, so I don't think it's anything mind-blowing, but it's definitely more literary fiction with a romance involved. So as a romance reader myself, I thought it was just good. Nothing I was obsessed with, but I did appreciate like the journey they both went on and having to deal with their different relationships that they've had and starting to fall in love with each other and then kind of being terrified that they were falling in love with each other. So that was this one. Then I read Two of a Kind, so I have to really zoom in for this. It's Ashley Pines and Eden Emery are the authors. This is a sapphic holiday novella, and I wanted to read it because it was super emotional. I love the angst, I love the emotion. So this premise is that one of the heroines, she was engaged. Her fiance died of cancer, but she had hooked up with the other girl prior to that engagement, and they were all close friends. So they have to go to this cabin together with their friend group that they went to every year, and it's their first Christmas without, I think Chris was his name, their best friend. And the one heroine who was engaged to him is still distraught. It's been almost a year and she still can't get over him. But we learn that at the funeral for him, she hooked up with that other girl, and they haven't spoken since, and they used to be super close friends. So they are forced to confront each other again, and what happens is the friends in the friend group have to go grocery shopping, and they leave those two behind, and then there's a freak snowstorm, and so the two girls are stranded in the cabin alone together and have to confront all of the emotions that they had closed up and all their emotions about the death of their friend slash fiance, and confront their feelings for each other. And I really like this one. It was super emotional. I think the buildup was so good to their romance, but because it's a novella, once they got together, it was like way too quick. I think that a lot more development should have been spent on after they first hooked up and then to the end, because I feel like 70% of the book was like all the build up and then the 30% was the end, and I was like, I would have liked a little bit more spent on that end of them like addressing all the problems and working through them instead of just being like, oh, we're great now, we're in love. So a little bit more development there I would have loved. 4 stars though. I really liked it. A really good emotional sapphic romance, and I like emotionally distraught characters, so the angst in here was great. Then I read Caution to the Wind by Gianna Darling. This is book 7 in the Fallen Men series. It was supposed to come out March of 2022 and it's come out now, and it was amazing. I think it's over 600 pages. It is a chunky book. I ordered the paperback. It is coming soon. The discreet cover is now finally live. It took like 4 days for it to go live because they didn't believe like she wrote it, so she had to like provide them extra paperwork, and they finally put it live. So I'm excited to get the discreet paperback. But this one is Axeman and May's story, and it is definitely very hate to love, very angsty, emotional, and very unlike any other Fallen Men romance. So I actually did a reading vlog of this for my patrons because a couple of them asked, and I was like, why not? And I have been reading the Fallen Men series since 2018. I picked up this series when there were only 2 books out, and now there are 7. And I actually included a clip of when I read Welcome to the Dark Side, and I was like freaking out about it. I was so obsessed. So this one is a best friend's dad romance, and she has really been part of the family since she was like 12. They've been best friends for a long time. They went through a really bad tragedy together, and then when she is 18, he goes to prison for her. Something happens because of her, he goes to prison. 8 years pass, she does not speak to him once in prison, and he is livid. He is so angry, so over her, and they only admitted they had some feelings then. So there's nothing like creepy in my opinion. She was 18 when anything was addressed. She was 26 by the time anything physically happened between them. But he is 16 years older. He is actually the stepdad of her best friend, and there is a lot of suspense in here, which I absolutely loved. There is a mystery that they're trying to solve together and going into like precarious situations together. He's mad that she does, but she can really take care of herself. She's trained in different fighting styles and she can take care of herself. And I love this book so much. I was obsessed with their romance, super spicy, loved them together. I loved when they finally acknowledged that they loved each other and were okay, like getting over their past and like the things they were hung up on. And it was so good. I loved it so much. 5 stars. I already can't wait for the next one, though she said she's coming out with 5 books next year and she's writing Fallen 8 now. The next Fallen Men book's not coming out until 2025, but we have a lot to look forward to from her. Then I read In Your Wildest Dreams by Rebecca Jenshak. I read this as an arc. This is going to be in a new releases reading vlog coming out soon, and this one I gave 3.5, rounding up to 4 though. This one had a lot of tropes that I personally, if you've been watching this video, I love angst and I love emotion. This one, the hero's a hockey player. The minute he sees the heroine in the stands, he's like, I'm obsessed, you're mine. And so he wants to pursue her, wants to date her, but she has a boyfriend. And so a couple months pass, he gets injured and she ends up being his nurse. And he's like, oh my God, it's my dream woman. Like, you're here. It's my chance. And she's like, I'm too busy. And she had broken up with her boyfriend, but she has like some hang-ups with what had happened and it's going to affect the hero. And so the only conflicts in here was she didn't want to commit to a relationship, so she said she's too busy to date him, but he still wants to pursue her. And then her ex. And I don't love ex drama, and that was a lot of the reason why they were hesitant to be together for the rest of this book. So just knowing those specific tropes and choices for the book are not my personal favorites. So the rating is definitely a me problem. However, I still really loved all the hockey in here. I really loved the found family that she had with his friends. So she needed a place to stay and he's like, I know people, this isn't a ploy to like date me, but like I know someone's looking for a roommate. And she starts to become friends with his friends and I loved her relationship with all of them. And I love all the hockey players. I love how close they are, and the hero was just so sweet and like golden retriever, and I really loved him as well. So because of the tropes, I'm giving it 3.5, but I'm rounding up to 4 because the rest of the book was really great and I acknowledge like part of it was a me problem. So if that sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend checking it out. Then I read Skeletons of Society by Marie Maravilla. This one is a mafia romance we read for Ravished by Romance, my book club with Lacey, and this one I gave a solid 4 stars. Now it's more like 3.5 because the writing, this is a debut novel, and Lacey and I were talking, it definitely felt like a debut novel, but you can really see the author has so much potential. So this is a mafia romance. The heroine is actually the arms dealer for the like cartel, and she is super kick butt. She can take care of herself. She loves to take charge and she like kills whoever gets in her way kind of thing. And the hero is part of an MC. So I loved the dark aspect. I love motorcycle clubs and mafia. So this like had everything I love in it. And he is like working with his MC to start dealing weapons with the mafia and meets with her. And he's immediately like, oh my God, this woman is like a dream. And I loved how protective but also impressed he was with her, that he would only step in when he thought she needed it, and if anybody crossed her or like said something about her, he immediately snapped. He's like, you do not talk about her that way, you respect her and give her the respect she deserves. And this one definitely had a lot of tension in it because they are from like different kind of like areas of the law where he's in the MC and she's in the mafia, and so it's like, can they actually make a relationship work? And I really like this one so much. It felt like it had a lot of the right pieces and it wasn't like fully fleshed out. Like it maybe went like 80% and I wanted it to go 100. And that's why I said like it felt like a first novel. Like she knew what she wanted to do but couldn't 100% execute it. But I feel like that'll happen in the next book, and definitely super spicy and a lot of fun. It was like a little over the top and cringy with the spice as well. But overall, I just had a really fun time reading this. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Christmas Swap. This one I'm giving 3 stars. I really wanted to love this. It is a sapphic romance, and I was talking with my patrons how it's such a common trope now for sapphic romances for the one heroine to start fake dating a guy, go home for Christmas with him, and fall for the sister. I feel like I've read 2 of those now, and I think I have 2 more on my TBR, but this one just like did not go how I wanted it to because it had all of the pieces of the plot, but like Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane did it so well, and this one just lacked so much depth that I really didn't care about the characters. So she went home for Christmas with the guy and then was secretly dating the sister, but the sister initially didn't like her because she thought she was using her brother for money, and it was just like very, very surface level, and I didn't really connect with any of the characters, didn't really care about the romance. And then they tried to like wrap it up in a nice neat bow to have the brother with someone, which again, Kiss Her Once for Me did, but it was just so much more endearing and angsty in Kiss Her Once for Me, and they had a reason why they couldn't be together in Kiss Her Once for Me. In this one, it was just like, meh. It had like the storyline, but it did nothing special with it. So that's why I'm giving it 3 stars. And the last one I read is a Christmas romance that I gave 5 stars. It was so good. It is Wreck My Plans by Jillian Meadows. I got to read an arc of it, but it comes out today, the day I'm filming this, and this one is so angsty and so good. It has mutual pining. The hero and the heroine have known each other for a long time. So she has her brother who is his best friend, and he's actually 10 years older than her, but they have had a crush on each other for 10 years. Since she was 19, they've liked each other, but they've never done anything about it. And the hero has a lot of trauma with family and people leaving him. So he was left as a kid, and he's went from foster home to foster home, and he really felt like he belonged for the first time with her family, and he does not want to jeopardize that because like his best friend. And so they've never done anything, and something happened 3 years ago where he just left and has not been back at a family thing since. So she hasn't seen him in 3 years, and now she wasn't supposed to come home for Christmas, but she gets fired, so she does, and he had planned on coming because she wasn't going to be there, and they have to spend time together, and there's forced proximity, and they decide to work it out of their systems for one night, and it is so good. He is tattooed, he bakes, he is so kind and caring to her family, he's an architect, he is literally perfection and so into her. I was highlighting so many quotes in this book because I was so obsessed. Very Christmassy, very perfect for Christmas time. The ending was so sweet. I loved everything about this book. 5 stars. Go read it now because this is a perfect Christmas romance. That's all I'm saying. And those are all the books that I read in the second half of November. Let me know what you read and what you thought of the books that I read. I would love to hear, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.